This evening, young bandit shot dead, accomplice beaten by Vigilante group. Police response to the spate of Vigilante killings. Mining Week 2016 was officially launched yesterday. Police kills unidentified man outside Camp Street Jail. In the region, 5 Trinbagonians awarded medical scholarships to Cuba. And internationally, Mali needs more power to meet the energy demand. One young engineer has a solar plan.
From Safetv headquarters in South Rival Gardens, this is Safetv Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel, as well as our website, safetvguyana.com. Join us. A Guyanese woman residing in the United States has been charged with murdering her 9-year-old stepdaughter. Rihanna Ahmad has the details in this report.
Shamday Arjun, age 55, is believed to have been responsible for strangling her 9-year-old stepdaughter, Indian national Ashdeep Kaur, in their South Richmond Hill apartment last Friday. Reports coming out of the United States suggest that the child was a victim of Arjun's psychotic behavior and that she had been repeatedly threatened by her stepmother.
I brought her to my house for stay one night over, and then she was telling me how she She said she don't like her, she don't treat her right way, she don't give enough food, she don't know how to cook either though, so she have to wait for her father to come home, cook and stuff.
That was one of the child's uncles speaking with Pix 11 News. Headline News understands that little Ashdeep was found naked and curled into a fetal position in the bathtub of her home.
The person who lives next door,
she's like a princess. Look her picture, please. She's like a princess. She's a very nice girl.
Another uncle that was. There are also unconfirmed reports that the Guyanese woman had even told her husband, the child's father, that she was going to kill the child. Meanwhile, the woman's former husband, Raymond Orion, has also been taken into police custody. Arjun's lawyer has since maintained her innocence, saying that the charges were being based on mere assumptions. Headline News will, however, keep you updated of any developments. George?
Thanks, Rihanna. One alleged bandit was shot dead after being chased down by a mob on the East Bank, while his accomplice was beaten and handed over to police over the weekend. Mondale Smith has this story.
The police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Sion Clark, called Cash Money, age 21, of 142 4th Street, Camberville. He was one of 2 alleged bandits chased down by an angry mob and beaten at Sarah Johanna, Old Road, Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara. They were allegedly beaten by a group of public-spirited citizens from the community following a thwarted robbery attempt on a shopkeeper at Pearl Village into Sarah Johanna, East Bank, Demerara on Saturday.
A Bluetooth car roll up with 4 guys in the car, 3 jump over the fence, and 2 run in the shop. The guy run out, they run out back from this side there, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, they run out and they run down at the back and they get away. Yeah, and then the part of the police follow, they fire back shot at the police and so, and then gone. And late in the night we hear the guys them get catching another village, couple village away from it.
So the guys them get thief anything or stuff from?
No, they didn't get anything. The shop guy run away.
A Division Commander Marlon Chapman told Safetv Headline News that initially the men were not found as they disappeared into some bushes.
It's alleged by the victim that 3 persons went to his residence. It's a business place. In a motor car, 2 came out. I understand they were both armed with handguns, and they attempted to rob him. An alarm was raised again in public space. The citizens responded, and the men were able to escape into the bushes while the car drove away. I think late in the night, information is that the suspects were seen on the Old Public Road, and by the time police got gotten there, residents pounced upon them and they were beaten, and somebody in the crowd discharged a round.
That round, according to the commander, hit one of the suspects, who was rushed to the Diamond Hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. However, about 22:30 hours on Saturday night, members of the community spotted the men on the Pearl Public Road and apprehended them. One resident across the way told Headline News that she saw the men executing military-like maneuvers, crawling in the bushes and ducking whenever vehicular traffic or lights came closer. She also heard a gunshot fired, followed by screams from one of the two men. That shot bandit turned out to be Clark. His accomplice was also beaten.
That investigation too, we're looking for some persons who we think can assist in that investigation. This morning the post-mortem examination was done and the cause of death was shock and injury due to gunshot injuries.
On Sunday, Headline News was on the scene at Sarah Johanna when the surviving suspect was escorted in shackles back to the bushes at Sarah Johanna. The police were much celebrated by villagers for a job well done. The injured bandit lives at Lot 310 Northeast Le Penitence. It was at this location where I'm standing, amidst this brush here, that the police were able to discover one firearm among other items that were allegedly stolen by the two men, one of whom now is dead and the other is in police custody. Reporting from the Sarah Johanna village, just on the east bank of Demerara Public Road, I'm Mondale Smith for Safetv Headline News.
Thanks, Mondale. The Guyana Police Force does not condone vigilante justice being meted out to anyone, says a division commander. In fact, the force has launched investigations that could see perpetrators of such acts being brought to justice. Here's more from Mondale Smith.
While celebrating what he sees as a decrease of crime in A Division, Commander Marlon Chapman is peeved at what is becoming a trend of vigilante beatings.
I have a zero tolerance approach as far as that thing is concerned. We have courts in this country, and if anyone commits any infraction, the police investigation will be done and the court will decide who is guilty or who is not guilty, not the police. And therefore I would not condone no vigilante style beating of no citizen of this country.
Hot on the heels of one man being shot dead and 3 others being beaten through the employment of vigilante justice in separate incidents, Assistant Commissioner and Commander of A Division Marlon Chapman is categorical that such actions will not be condoned by the Guyana Police Force.
Reports that I would have had in the division with the 2 incidents, one at Pearl and one at North Rhineville, those investigations are active. There are some persons we're looking for. And as soon as they're arrested, the appropriate action will be taken. So no vigilante style beating. They can't take it down to themselves. Everybody deserves the day in the court.
Following the shooting death of a youth and the beating of the accomplice of an alleged attempted robbery, which were effected by villagers of Pearl, the commander made this statement.
That is way beyond the limit. You can't shoot people just like that. Whether the person is a criminal or what, you can't shoot people just like that. And I would not sit there and condone that. And that investigation too is active, and
arrests will be made.
I am almost sure.
Explaining further, the commander noted that should a bandit be caught, the public has a duty that does not include taking the law into their own hands.
Public's duty, if a suspect or suspects are apprehended by public citizens, they're required to either take them to the station or hand them over to the police on arrival, not to beat anybody. Not to beat anybody. We have courts in this country, and we will investigate, charges are laid, and the court will take the appropriate action, having all the evidence, of course, from the virtual complainant and the police. So the court will arrive at a decision whether someone is guilty or not guilty, but not for members of the public to take the law into themselves and beating people like that.
Commander Chapman further explained the 2 incidents of concern.
In North, what was the situation really?
It's an attempted robbery. This is where 2 guys went to the victim's home, allegedly assaulted him to the head with a firearm, and an alarm was raised. Persons responded, of course, public citizens, and the guys were apprehended, but they were beaten. Taken to the hospital, one was treated and sent away while the other is still admitted the patient. A firearm was found,
For Safetv Headline News, I'm Mondale Smith.
Thanks again, Mondale. Government plans to erect a memorial at Independence Park, parade ground, to commemorate the executions during the 1823 revolt. The intention of erecting the monument is to remind Guyanese of the price paid for freedom. Those words came from the lips of President David Granger as he addressed the commemoration ceremony of the 193rd anniversary of the 1823 Demerara Revolt. Andrew Weeks reports.
Many attended the commemoration ceremony of the 193rd anniversary of the 1823 Demerara Revolt. The ceremony was filled with cultural items, including a dance by the National School of Dance and a melodious rendition of national song. The short ceremony was attended by government ministers, Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Burton Scotland, and other officials. The site of the seawall monument, which was commissioned in August of 2013, was strongly contested by prominent African groups who had favored parade ground as the most suitable location for a monument. The Demerara Revolt is remembered in the village of Bachelor's Adventure, where the massacre occurred. In this village, a memorial to remember the Demerara martyrs was built by residents. On Saturday morning, President David Granger, during his address, said the government will erect a memorial at Independence Park or parade ground to commemorate the execution during the 1823 revolt.
But the government will erect a memorial at Independence Park. The government will erect a memorial at Independence Park to commemorate these executions. Future generations must not forget that freedom was bought at a high price, the price of martyrdom of hundreds of Africans on the 20th of August, 1823.
It was a request African leaders had made to the former PPC government, but they refused to lend a listening ear and build a monument at the seawall instead. However, President Granger has listened. According to the head of state, this atrocity is perhaps the single most significant event that hastened the abolition of slavery in the British colonies during that time. He noted that the Demerara Revolt was the turning point in slave society and is commemorated as one of the most important events in Guyanese and Caribbean history.
The revolt's historical role in the passage of the Emancipation Act by the British Parliament in 1833, a decade later, is undisputed. The Demerara Revolt broke out on Monday the 18th of August 1823. Brigadier General John Murray, the governor, proclaimed the martial law the next day and mobilized a formidable military force. The massacre took place at Plantation Bachelor's Adventure, where over 2,000 rebels confronted the main body of troops under Lieutenant Colonel John Thomas Leahy. The martial law proclamation was read, and after some talk, the troops were ordered to attack. One account stated, and I quote, "The soldiers poured in volley after volley. The slaves returned fire but soon began to run, leaping the trenches into which many tumbled lifeless. Many were shot down on the road and in the cotton fields. By noon, the roadside was littered with dead bodies. About 200 slaves had been killed."
President Granger also noted that retribution was swift and severe. History records that Colonel Leahy and his officers had held summary drumhead trials, each lasting only a few minutes. The courts reached hasty verdicts based on hearsay evidence. The accused invariably were found guilty, tied to trees, and shot immediately. Their corpses were laid side by side on the ground. Heads were then decapitated and placed on poles along public roads in front of the plantations. President Granger said,
Triumphant, the troops moved from plantation to plantation, pursuing fugitives and releasing the planters, who, for the most part, were unharmed. They had been placed in stocks to prevent them from obstructing the freedom which the Africans believed that King George had granted them. Expeditions scoured the backlands in search of fugitive rebels, particularly the assumed ringleader Kwamina. A mercenary found him and shot him dead on the 16th of September. His body was carried back and hung in chains outside Plantation Success on the East Coast. The planters and populace were exultant, but the very excesses for which the planters congratulated themselves in Georgetown were condemned in London.
The Emancipation Act was passed a decade after 1824. Because of this horrific incident, President David Granger emphasized the need for Guyanese to remember the price paid for freedom by their ancestors, the Africans. George?
Thanks, Andrew. Coming up on Headline News after the break, PPPC joins campaign to keep the Walter Roth Museum, and City Council officials implore workers to help them realize a healthy, clean, and safe city.
Everybody knows John Lewis Styles as the Levi's and Dockers store. But did you know we're also an authorized dealer for Nautica, Perry Ellis, US Polo, Natural Issue, Joffrey Bean, and many others. We also carry the Bruno and Drill brands, who are actually the makers of Express shirts, at half the price of Express. So the next time you think of men's clothing, shoes, and accessories, there's only one choice. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Get your back-to-school supplies at Colors. Backpacks from Nike and G-Tech, K-Swiss and Levi's in black. Getting gear for back-to-school is always a task, but Colors has the back-to-school sale for you. When you purchase, write your name, address and telephone number on the back of your coupon and drop it in the box. School bags, boots, everything you need for back to school. Enter and win Monster headphones, 2 phablets, 1 mountain bike. School vouchers accepted. 2259980.
With a distinctive flavor, Umda Palkagi is made from 100% pure vegetable oil. This palkagi is a delight when preparing sweetmeats and other dishes for healthy cooking with a rich buttery taste and aroma. It is used for religious purposes and is a principal fuel for burning. Umda palkagi is light, pure, with a real ghee texture.
When you think back-to-school shopping, think Clearance. Get your boys in shoes for school in brands like Timberland, Reebok, Land Rover LRX, and more. While for your girls, there are Hush Puppies, Clarks, LRX, and many others. What about backpacks? Get long-lasting brands like Swiss Brand, JanSport, Nike, and Kenneth Cole, including Police and Dockers pants for boys, all at Clearance. For quality clothing at affordable prices, Clearance, always keeping you in style.
It's slipping through our hands, we're sinking in the sand.
Fly always. Always something new.
It's always fresh, tasty, enticing, and the best in town. Served hot from our experienced chefs. Come and enjoy our daily meals with a wide and delicious menu to choose from. Also a wide variety of pastries and dessert. We can also host your luncheons, cocktails, parties, and formal gathering. For reservation, call 225-1730, 225-0038, and delivery 225-0195 or 225-0159. The new thriving Chinese restaurant, 32 Main Street, Georgetown.
Only at Kissoon's can you get the guaranteed offer of up to 50% discount on every item in their blowout factory surplus sale. 50% off for Guyana's 50th anniversary right through the year. Check it out at their spacious factory outlet at Reinfeldt Industrial Park, where parking is no problem. They're in the mood to celebrate at Kissoon's. Once you want it, Kissoon's will make sure you don't leave without it.
This place is really hot.
In this report, you'll hear from Rihanna Ahmad that the People's Progressive Party Civic has joined the group.
Museums of such national and regional importance are being treated. It's like if you're looking for reminder.
That was the party's General Secretary, Clement Rohi. While many are genuine in their fight to keep the museum where it is, Rohi insists that his party is not using the issue as a political pawn.
Why would we want to make it a political issue? This is a matter that the question, my friend, is a very simple and straightforward one.
President David Granger had indicated that the government has intentions to utilize the building for the operations of the Ministry of the Presidency. Rohi is questioning why.
He's allowing
Caribbean region. It is a non-profit institution created by the government of Guyana to collect, exhibit, and conserve artifacts relating to the ancient cultures of Guyana. George?
Thanks, Rihanna. Clean and safe city. Andrew Weeks was there and filed this report.
Hundreds of staff members attended the most recently held general staff meeting at City Hall compound last week. Town Clerk Royston King asked workers how well they were playing in the team in facilitating the work of council so that it could honor its responsibilities.
What has been happening over the years is that our responsibility has gotten more burdensome because we have more people living in the city, we have a change in our demography, and local communities are demanding more and more of our services.
He said even though the demands from citizens are high, the revenue collections are not forthcoming. He explains why.
The monies that we're collecting in taxes cannot even provide to more than 40,000 households in this city. And then some people who are living in their premises, in their buildings, change that over from residential to commercial, but they're still paying residential rates. And then there are others who are taking up our space without paying the council anything for it, but they're extending their businesses. You go in Bel Air and Section K, Campbellville, and some of those areas. You know why we have overtopping in some of those areas? Because some people have narrowed the alleyway by taking in portions of council's reserves. And they've extended their businesses to the east and to the west, to the north and to the south, but they're not paying us anything.
King told staff members that it is time all staff members understand the struggle council is going through in order to meet its obligations to them and citizens in the city.
So with all of these responsibilities, The city must do this, and the city must do that, and you must do this, and you must do that. But where is the money to get it done? It doesn't come by wishful thinking. Then it comes by wishful thinking. Don't run a city on wishes. You don't pay workers on wishes.
Bad weather during the year, and I visited that facility only a few days ago, and was quite impressed with what I saw.
Also attending the event was President David Granger and a few government ministers.
I did not stop one man from attempting to create confusion in the secured area.
The is that the now deceased was pushing down the barriers all around the prison. He was confronted by the police, attacked the policeman, and the policeman in turn discharged him. He was struck, taken to the hospital, and pronounced dead on the right. The investigation is on. It has been done between the CID and the Office of Professional Responsibility. The SOP is that an investigation must be done.
The commander says that the rank who fired the fatal shot has been taken off of active duty as investigations are ongoing. Police are also seeking to establish the identity of the dead man.
With a rich buttery taste and aroma, it is used for religious purposes and is a principal fuel for burning. Unga powder ghee is light, pure, with a real ghee texture.
Don't let this moment in history pass you by. Kissoons want every Guyanese home to showcase a new piece of furniture to remember this glorious event of our Jubilee celebration. Kissoons have gone crazy. Every item is on sale right through this year in the Big Broad Factory Surplus Sale, up to 50% off for the 50th birthday at Kissoons.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day.